What to do? First, we must remember that we are not created as spiritual chickens. We're not created as spiritual turkeys. We're not created as spiritual peacocks. You know what? I was reading the article about spiritual peacocks. It's very funny because there's some of us, they're like Christian peacocks. They love to display their what? They love to display their accomplishments. They love to display their degrees, their educational attainment. You know the peacock, right? She would love to display her beautiful feathers. But we are not created for that. We were created to soar like an eagle. So what do we need to do? We need to seek the Lord's face. We need to call upon the Lord's name. We need to wait upon the Lord, looking to Him, pleading with Him, wrestling with Him, and pouring out our hearts entirely on Him, because we are made to soar like an eagle. Did you know, friends, that the golden eagle can fly up to 80 miles per hour and can dive down to 200 miles per hour? This bird is really amazing. But then, young eagles do not learn how to fly the easy way. Flying to the eagle is not an instinct. The eaglets have to learn the basics of flying. How do the eagle parents teach their young ones to fly? Well, the first lesson is when the baby eagle starts growing its flying feathers. The parents will hover over the nest, flapping its huge wings. And the wind that is created or caused by the flapping of the wings of the parents will toss the baby eagles slightly above the nest, making them to mimic their parents' way of flapping their wings too. And this goes on for a few weeks, until one day Mama Eagle would just hover over the nest. This time there's no food. After hovering a few rounds, Mama Eagle would make a dive into the nest and begins to shake it violently. She would try to push one of the eaglets out of the nest. Or what she would do is that she would take one of her babies in her mouth and start soaring into the skies. The baby eaglet begins to tremble. Suddenly, she drops the baby eaglet, who starts to struggle. The eaglet would scream in fear. But just before the eaglet smashes against the rocks, Mama Eagle would climb down and pick it up. This goes on for 5 to 8 weeks. 8 times, I mean. The eaglet starts to wonder why Mama is doing this. And every time it is being dropped from the sky, the eaglet would struggle by flapping its wings. It's not easy, but Mama Eagle is teaching her youngs to fly. At about the 14th to 15th try, then the eaglet begins to fly and soar like Mama Eagle. Friends, the only way where a little eagle learns to fly is by falling. Is there anybody here who is falling? Let me tell you this, friends. You may fall, but you will never fail. You'll never be going to hit the bottom. Because underneath, just before you crush and burn, underneath you will find the everlasting arms. Now get this, friends. God, in His love and care, may allow sometimes pains and sufferings to come to us because for only one purpose, and that is to end our weakness. Not to crush us, not that we will fail, but to exercise our faith so we will have enough of it to fly and soar above our circumstances. Are you soaring to new heights? Then keep on soaring. But then, there are others, no doubt, who are just methodically keeping through in the race. God says, you will run and not grow weary. Now, if this describes you, then you must keep running. Of course, there are lots of hurdles that you have to go over. It's not an easy path. There will be rocks, there will be thorns. But God says, keep on running. But then there are others too, that all they can do is just to walk and not faint. Maybe you're just struggling to put your foot in front of the other. Friend, you need to know this. That's okay. Why is it that you are not doing your thing? Maybe we ask that question to God. We ask, how is it, Lord? Where are you? Are you there? But you can know for sure that Jesus understands you if you find yourself in that walking season of life. Because He Himself went through all the spiritual seasons of life. There were times when He was just soaring. Imagine the time when He called His friend Lazarus out of the tomb. That was a day of soaring for Jesus. On the Mount of Transfiguration, there was another event of soaring for Jesus Christ. When He fed thousands of people from a few loaves and few fishes. Then when He called Peter and said, come walk on the water with me. Those were times when Jesus was just soaring. But there were also times when He was just running ahead. In spite of all the oppositions that He had, the religious leaders, in spite of the tempter coming to Him in the wilderness, trying to trip Him up, most of the time, Jesus stayed on course. He kept running and never grew weary. But then, there were also times when He would just walk. He was not running at power. You don't jog at Via Dolorosa, the way of suffering. And on that day, all He could do was to carry the cross. In fact, there was even a time when He could not even do that. And so Simon the Silent came in, right? You remember that? Indeed, Jesus knows all the spiritual seasons of life. But take note of this, friends. If you just wait upon the Lord, He will see you through in all these spiritual seasons of life. And you will rise up as if with the wings of eagle. And you will soar of His power. You will run and not grow weary. You will walk and not faint. God bless you as you serve this year 2011.